Welcome to Profile Street TV, and today I'm very excited to be joined by Paul Hogan. So Paul, thank you very much for taking time out to talk to us today. We're honoured to have you join us and share some time talking about what you've done and the present and the future. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Originally born in Birmingham in the UK, lived in Solihull for all of my younger life up to the age of 15. Came back with my parents then to Ireland. I went to work as a toolmaker in a local factory, which was great for 2 years, and I started doing it and as an apprenticeship. Then I decided, no, I'm very good at art, wanted to go off and do something in that area. So I went to the art college in Athlone. So I completed 3 years there, became a graphic designer, went off to Dublin, set up a company called Serif Design. And then I got into the company of some other gentlemen, and we set up another company called BFK. And that was in the whole area of not just graphic design, but it went into kind of branding. And then at the time, around the time of the whole .com boom, I had a customer in BFK in on post, and the guy was called Brendan Moore. He was in the marketing side. And so we started looking at the whole kind of prepaid cards. I don't know if you can remember them, but there was a little card that used to go to this, the corner market. You pay a $5 or a euro or whatever it was. There was a string of digits on the back of that card. You'd have to go to a call box and you'd type in, you punch in all these numbers, then your prefixes, and then the number you need. There was about 30 digits long, and then you get through to an international call. So we decided, well, is there an area there that we could bring that online? We said, well, yeah, we could, and we did. So we approached a guy that I knew who had a very successful business, and he trades internationally. He said, listen, guys, I won't invest in you guys, but you can have my business, all of my international stuff. He says, if you can make it sort of a prepaid or postpaid. And so we said, yeah, fine. And we swapped everything around. So, and that's how Minute Buyer was born. So now we could compete in the enterprise market against the likes of the retail people, and we could reflect our pricing accordingly. So we went aggressively after a lot of corporates, and we were quite successful over the, well, actually sold the company there last year, which was great. So it's been successful for 20 odd years of trading.
What an incredible journey, my word. And, disrupting the market and innovation and reading the markets right. So I'm definitely in safe hands today.
Well, you know, disrupting, it certainly was disruptive, I suppose. And technology does become that disruptor, and that's kind of where I'm leading myself into the new company, which I've helped set up called Synctive. And it just means that technology tends to kind of have a period of maybe 5-10 years. It kind of, it's generational, and everything moves on. And so the new version of what I used to be is still in the telecom space, because what my new company Synctive does is, particularly in Ireland anyway, in the Republic, it looks after broadband for companies that need to get it in, and then we look at the network, and we can have a look at minding that network, or what we call SD-WAN, and that basically just means you're able to aggregate the best value out of that particular network and in a real-time scenario through a portal. And once you've done that, then you can then move it on into other areas, which is the real sexy area, which is, you know, the unified communications as a service. So we're doing this call at the moment over Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we all know about Zoom, which is great. But there are other ones, you know, Cisco, Microsoft Teams, and the one that I partner with in this case is called RingCentral. And so, but they all kind of are basically now the next generation of the way we communicate. And it's now not just a phone call anymore. It's much, much more than that. It goes much deeper into how companies operate and how they basically talk to all of their stakeholders, and whether you're a customer, whether you're a supplier, whether you're internal staff, whether you're working at home, whether you run on the motorway, in an airport, in a different part of the globe. And it doesn't matter what device you're on either. So it all makes sure that all of these things work in a very unified way, in a way that works for you. as a company, has worked best for you, and it has all the proper protocols from HR, from technology, from your IT, from security, and all that type of stuff. And I suppose its time has come since COVID-19 has kicked in. I mean, there has been research shown that, particularly in the States, where something like 5 million users were home workers are in the States. Prior to COVID-19, it's now bumped up to 30 odd million in the States, and that will continue to grow. So, you know, it really definitely is here to stay. And it's just a matter of people of a certain age getting used to it. And I'm talking about people of maybe my ilk, where they were much more used to picking up the phone, don't want to have to see my face on a video call. I don't want any nonsense, just pick up the phone, you know. But what happens is you have the phone underneath your neck and you're still trying to do all this type of stuff, as opposed to one of these maybe, or your headphones or whatever. And it's just a slightly different way of doing business, but the older fellas will just have to get used to it, whether you like it or not. You know, that technology has now been forced through because of COVID-19, and because of the younger people, that's what they do. I mean, they've been born with an iPhone in their hands, playing with an iPhone in their hands. And, you know, WhatsApp is a great features on those. I talked to my dad since the whole close down over Messenger the whole time. So, you know, even my dad can get used to it. So everyone can get used to it, you know. So that's kind of where we are at the moment.
Incredible. And you mentioned broadband across Ireland and businesses trying to use it. And for sure, I think there's an incredible opportunity for improved, better options around broadband in Ireland, there's no doubt. And businesses today, the broadband to homes, never mind business offices, what a niche to be even considering. But then even the online communication, I can only echo what you're saying, that we're so used to picking up the phone, but you look at the younger people and younger business owners, and they're on the video phone straight away. And
yeah,
we're finding that actually people are coming to us and asking us to train them on how to do Zooms and how to do video calls, because they have never done it before and need some help.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where the polishing off of people on video calls is going to become a little industry in its own right. I saw a very funny video there the other day of a guy, and you could see him, he was playing his Xbox, and then he realized he was supposed to be on a video call. So he drops the Xbox and goes running up to the screen. But before he was in his t-shirt, but then he kind of managed to get his arm into his suit with a tie and everything on it, and within a second he was ready to go. You know, it's very funny. But yeah, it's kind of it's a matter of making sure that, you know, that these very dully, badly lit, you know, at least if you have these, you can hear properly, you can talk properly. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of getting all these kind of things worked up and getting them right. But going back to the broadband is always going to be an issue, and it has been in Ireland for some time. But the thing about broadband from an SME enterprise point of view is that you have to make sure that you are not caught out by it. And what I mean by that is that if your broadband goes down, you're off the air. So if you have a voice over IP phone system, or if you're doing these video calls and all the rest of it, your broadband gone, you're gone until it comes back for whatever reason. And it could go for what, you know, and maybe a JCB is outside and it's just stuck up your cables, and then you could be gone for 6 weeks, let alone gone for a couple of hours, you know. But the thing about it is, what I try to promote to all of the customers I talk to is that you have a minimum of 2 connections, not just one. Now, it could be you might have your main provider bringing in broadband through your front door, but then you might have a wireless one as a secondary backup connection. And this is where it rolls into the SD-WAN as a part of a service then that it helps to bring them into one. You're able to aggregate those services. So if you're getting maybe 50 meg off your main provider, you have 50 from this guy here. So you're getting close to now 100 meg out of both, using the SD-WAN as a network. And then it depends on, you know, if you've got maybe a head office, it doesn't matter where it's located, but head office, and they might have, you know, satellite branches all over the country or all over the world, they can all be managed through that one SD-WAN connection. And you can then also make sure that you're not making, you have your more important data going over one connection, and maybe you're browsing over the other connection, and so it's more secure. So there's lots of ways of looking at these things, but I'm trying to kind of say, well, listen, this is kind of a best of breed solution for you. Now it's up to you whether you have the money or the wherewithal to want to do that, but this is the best thing to do. And then it all then rolls nicely then into making sure that you have very nice online presence for doing your unified communications, which is the next step. You don't have to have the other two. You don't have to have the dual connection. You don't have to have SD-WAN. But from an SME to an enterprise solution, it's best that you do.
Very clear. No, incredible advice. And it's amazing, many of us are not even thinking about this, just happy to have really strong fiber broadband into our office. But now, again, as a business owner, I'm thinking, okay, I need it in the office for when we're in the office, but also I need it in 20 odd homes as well, or how am I going to manage all of this as well? There's definitely a lot to think about.
And it kind of goes, you have to, from a corporate point of view, from the guys that are making the decisions, they have to have a total cost of ownership thing worked out in advance. So this is the whole strategy about, and it's amazing because of COVID, it really squeezed everything together, where everyone was always talking about unified communications. And we should be doing that, and we should have people working at home, but sure they're not. They're jumping in the car and they're taking 2 hours to get to work. Now they don't, and now they were forced on to try and get everyone up on Zoom, up on Microsoft, up on RingCentral, whatever it was. It become an instant thing that they had to do. And there's a lot of backpedaling going on, and the poor old IT guys and the poor old finance people are probably pulling their hair out, thinking, well, how are we going to do that? But the fact is, in a lot of cases, it's already been put in place now. So the cost has been sunk, and now can they get return on their investment? And the way to do that then is to say, well, you need to look back at the office situation, the head office situation. Do you need such a big head office now? They're looking at that. Do you need to have all your people on the road and traveling? Using fuel, going to the office. Taking up lighting, heating, electricity. Cups of teas, cups of coffees, that type of stuff. So there are certainly balances to all of this stuff. A lot of people love the video conferencing now, and like for a business and also from a personal point of view, people are quite used to it. But I think the whole kind of gossipy nature of people going to the office in town, hanging out in town, going to nice coffee shops, that type of stuff. There's a little bit of that still missing. Even I miss it myself, going after to meeting people and stuff. But it will come back, but there will be a balance. And I think if I think the whole working from home thing is definitely going to stay, but it might be that you can work at home maybe 3 days a week, and maybe get to the office for the other 2, just to make it feel like you're doing something and your bosses are eyeballing you. So there's a bit of a balance in that,
Yeah, incredible time, as you say, that the future's changed. If you asked me 2 months ago about us fully working from home, of course practical and we're set up to do it. Would I like to do it? Ideally not. Where I am today, I'm just going, okay, wow, back to being forced through the process. I'm just thinking, wow, we should have done this or part of this a long time ago. So talk about being forced to do something.
Yeah, well, I could certainly think the people in control of the financial strings of a business are going to be looking carefully in terms of how this has all come about, and are we really kind of making best use of it? So when your people are at home, you kind of, I was jokingly using that, like a scenario of your man playing the Xbox and then jumping on the call. But, there has been a lot of research taken in this, and it proves that you're actually getting something like another day and a half out of a remote worker than having to have them go into the office. So that's one thing. And the other aspect of this as well, which again has a big impact of companies when they're using these applications is to not have too many applications. So, you know, you might have one for say Zoom, another one for people that are coming in and they're using Microsoft Teams, another one they're using emailing. There's so many different applications that companies or people are being forced to use. So, and it becomes a kind of a death by app, and have to remember all the passwords and that type of stuff. So, and that's one of the things that I found really, really good about the RingCentral as a proposition, is that it's just one platform, one what they call a clip. Basically, it's a platform where you use all of your stuff. You can set up teams and messages all within the one groups. And so you can have people coming up to conversations really, really, really quickly. Even new people coming in, you know, and they can just sit in quite nicely in terms of all the information is there on a file. You can connect and do your video calls, but you can also share files. You can do whiteboarding. You can share your spreadsheets and all that type of stuff. So it's really changing everything the way business used to run, but in a much more slicker way. And I think the only thing that kind of can particularly halt that is just your connection to broadband. So your broadband is kind of an important thing, because if it's not on, you aren't on, you know.
No, and you find across Ireland and I guess all the counties that broadband connection and access to this is improving, or still there's a long way to go and a lot of opportunities for businesses of all sizes to look at this?
Well, I suppose I've been lucky enough in that, because I've always come from a wholesale perspective. It means that I've always been on the way of looking at the best solution possible from various different providers. So it just means that, you know, I've already kind of gone through a lot of that donkey work, and to make sure to find out that where's the best map coverage, and have at least two providers covering that particular area. In some cases, you might not have any option, and therefore you're kind of stuck. But you'll always have a mobile phone as a secondary backup. So if that does fall off, you're still on the air, at least with your mobile. You know, it's not the best case scenario, but at least it is a backup. So, you know, I'm finding that the people that are around the country are of an SME perspective are getting their heads around this quite quickly. On the big enterprise stuff, you're talking about, these guys could be in big data centers with Amazon and they're, you know, got Azure and all this highly technical stuff. But the big shift between now and the next, certainly I think 3 to 5 years now, particularly with COVID coming on, I think it's brought it back even by another 3 years, is moving everything from what was called private cloud solutions. So you know, all this stuff on-prem, where you got kind of big servers and you have all your calls and your data going in and out your own private server. That's all now moving out of that. You see, the big telecoms made their money out of that. Right? That's where their cream was, and holding their big contracts and stuff with their big enterprise customers, and they're making so much money out of them that they're afraid of this whole new public cloud thing. Now, when I say public cloud, think of it this way. Think of Spotify. So you're moving it from a capital expense to an operational expense. And that's essentially what Spotify does as an app. So where you used to go off and spend 20 quid a month on getting a CD, sticking it in your drive at home. Now you don't do that anymore. You just use it on the drip, was it $5 or $10 a month or whatever, and you get all the good stuff on Spotify. It's essentially the same thing between moving it from private cloud into public cloud. And again, you will also have the security that need to be built around that. But on the private cloud, particularly in the RingCentral scenario, that has all the security you'll ever need. It's got 5 times SLAs, 5 nines SLAs. So it's got everything you'll ever need from an enterprise point of view. So it's pretty much covered.
Incredible. And I guess there's lots of advantages and disadvantages, maybe more advantages for remote working. And is there any disadvantages to it as well?
I suppose loneliness. If you're off on your own, and you know you're working kind of, and you're a diligent employee, and you say you have to get up at 8 o'clock and be in front of your computer and doing your stuff, and you're there for and you're trying to keep it to a 6, 7, 8 hour day, you will not have your colleagues around. So you won't have that water cooler moment with them, No, you do have it online, like we're chatting now. It's as if you're in the same room, but it's not quite the same. So there's a bit of that. And that's what I'm saying, maybe moving it, for, working at home, maybe 3 days a week, and maybe you can go in for the office, maybe 1 or 2 days, or just to get out and about. When this whole thing eventually frees up, people can be able to start doing that again. But it's definitely that's a disadvantage. Your own mental health anyway, because of COVID-19 is really kind of thrown up a few things anyway. But if you're and the other thing is keeping children at bay. So if you have a young family and you're trying to do a conference call and you have them walking in around the background and shouting and screaming, and that can be a disadvantage. But it's personalizing it, I suppose, and making it homely. And then you have a cat jumping up and you're showing them the dogs and pets. So it does personalize it from that point of view. So it's going to be different.
Okay. I need to get a cat or a dog to bring and just make
We live in Wicklow, so we the problem with having a dog is there's too many sheep around, so that's our excuse.
Enough said. It's a big trouble. So you see this as a massive opportunity. Obviously, the whole way we do work, I guess, is going to change first, and we're going down this road anyway, but we're going to change, I guess. A little bit faster. Is that your thoughts?
Well, it can, absolutely. I mean, just purely from my own perspective, I mean, I'm looking more at, I've never done as much international business. So, whether it's business from the UK, business in Germany, business in America, I mean, they're, and at home here in Ireland as well. So it doesn't matter where now you're doing your business. People are the same everywhere. They now begin to understand the technology, and it's something that you can help to push out.
Incredible. And just thinking of the future for yourself and the business. So how do you see it developing over the next couple of months and years?
Well, months and years, the months is definitely trying to get people onboarding. There's a huge push on cost savings, understandably. I mean, if people are looking at potentially having to wind up the businesses, they're cutting costs wherever they can. So the unified communications as a service can save companies a lot of money, particularly when they're looking at having to maybe their phone system. If they have a traditional PBX, then definitely there's a cost saving there, maybe up to 30%. So that's good. In terms of the longer term, it's only going to scale. It's only going to get bigger, which is great. But I also then think that you were talking about broadband. One of the things I'm keeping an eye on is 5G. At the moment, 4G is the thing for mobile networks, but it's just choked to death. And that's going to get much better once the 5G kicks in any sort of significant way. It isn't in certain states or big cities in America, and they really are finding a massive broadband capacity there. The problem with it is that you need so many more antenna nearly off every building around the country. But if they want to try and make that a global thing, it will have a huge impact in terms of how we communicate. So at the moment, we're doing it in a kind of a video environment that will morph into some sort of a three-dimensional version of whatever it is, and that will become the future. So not this generation, but certainly in another 10 years' time, we could really be talking about that. So 5G is something to have a look at.
Yeah, incredible. No, it sounds incredible. Very exciting times for sure to watch it happen. And so your ideal or the typical company that you would help or work with, who would they be? What would their size be? What would your solution or what problem would you be helping them with?
Believe it or not, it works from 2 to 2,000. It doesn't matter the size, because think about it as a kind of because of um, the public cloud environment, where you are initially just downloading your application, and then after that, then is kind of you're streaming your stuff there and out. So it really is based on your calculation just be based on volume. So whether you're a 10-seater operation, which is maybe a small company, up to some big enterprise, which could be 500 or even 5,000, it just really just depends on scale, and then that's how you position your license there on after that.
Incredible. No, very good. So and you service globally?
Oh yeah. That could be global is the thing, you know, and what I love about it is that it's it can be deployed very, very quickly. So once you get all the commercials done, signed, and get the contract done, T's and C's done, it could be deployed literally within 3 weeks.
Incredible. No, sounds amazing. So if anyone's interest is piqued during this chat, what's the best way for them to get in touch or to find out more about the business? Is there a web address or somewhere we can send?
My website, which is synctive.ie, and it's to spell Synctive, because some people, it's synctive.ie, but quite happy to have a chat with whoever, even just to consult. I think consulting is part of it takes the pressure off people, and it's all completely free of charge to have a chat, and that's no issue there at all. And then we can work through all the different scenarios that might be required thereafter that.
Incredible. No, very good. No, thank you for that. And what we'll do is we'll make sure we've got a link below this video, so anyone can click through and check out the site, and hopefully get in touch with some questions as well. So
sure.
Paul, thank you again for your time today. That was really interesting. I learned a lot as ever, so I really appreciate your time.
No problems at all, and I look forward to having a look at the first cut.
For sure, we get it through. No, thank you. Excellent, and thank you for watching this video today. Again, learning so much in this new world of maybe how a business can reduce costs, but actually improve their communications, and how we get our content online, our comms online, and reach out and communicate with our customers as well as our own team in-house. So do check the links below this video. If you enjoyed it, do share as well, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.